Good morning, good afternoon, or even good evening, depending on the time zone that you are joining us from today. My name is Dr. Donna Chambers, and I am an associate teaching professor in Spanish, as well as the coordinator for CASE, which is the Center for Academic Community Engagement at Penn State Berks, a university located in Reading, Pennsylvania, in the United States of America. I would like to speak with you today about what I consider innovative in language teaching, and that is to utilize an interdisciplinary approach to teach language learning through community engagement. Slide number 2, please. In order to accommodate the 15-minute time limit we have been given, this presentation will limit itself to highlighting 3 of Penn State Berks' Spanish community-based learning projects. It will discuss the relevance of course content to those projects, and finally, it will showcase the conversion of those projects to virtual opportunities when we were suddenly faced with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Slide number 3, please. The first project I'd like to speak with you about is the Migrant Education After School program. This interdisciplinary program involves Spanish language students as well as students studying civic engagement, social justice, and education. To participate in this project, students had to commit for a minimum of 1 afternoon per week for 3 weeks. The tutees were mainly Hispanic children between the ages of 6 and 12, several of whom spoke only Spanish. Our students assisted the children with general assignments such as elementary math, reading, writing, and language arts. After about an hour of formal instruction, the students played games with the children and they taught them arts and crafts. Although students were asked to commit for a minimum of 3 weeks, several students stayed for the length of the entire semester, 15 weeks. Those who stopped after 3 weeks cited conflicts with their jobs or participation in sports. Those that stayed the entire semester indicated that they had created such a bond with the children that they did not want to disappoint them by leaving them before the semester had ended. For students in Spanish classes, tutoring the children became an exciting extension of the classroom. They applied the vocabulary and grammar learned in class to a real-life setting, and more importantly, spoke Spanish in real time with real people. They also instructed the children in Spanish by using the imperative or the command form they had learned in class. Spanish language students received relevant writing practice by submitting a reflection composition after each 3rd week rotation. Although the compositions were proportionate to the students' level of language study, they provided a unit of measure to observe our progress in their language. Out of approximately 50 participants per year surveyed every year for the past 5 years, 48% reported that they were very satisfied at how the program increased their comfort level in speaking Spanish, that the experience helped them understand and empathize with migrant children, and that they would be willing to repeat the experience in the future, even if it were post-graduation. Slide number 4, please. Breaking Barriers, Building Bridges 2 is the 2nd year of a collaborative project between Penn State Berks, the Reading School District, and select Latino artists from the Reading community. We utilize the arts and humanities to explore themes of discrimination, cultural poverty, health, and community reentry. It is a semester-long project that culminates in an evening celebration of multicultural dance performances, live music, spoken word, child-created art, and live portrait painting. Finding common ground in the arts, the humanities, and social sciences, participants strive to break through barriers of stereotypes and misunderstandings and to strengthen relationships built on trust, communication, and interaction. This project increases cross-disciplinary teaching and learning, of course. Select English, Spanish, history, criminal justice, civic engagement, African American studies, and rehabilitation and human services classes all participate in this project. There is opportunity at every level or for every level of language learner to participate. The project provides a total immersion experience, not only for the application of the target language, but also in the relevant engagement of the Latino community. Whether serving as a bilingual ambassador on the night of the performance, greeting the spectators, distributing the program booklets, translating the program booklet, painting with the children, or performing a bilingual spoken word number, language students are continuously deploying the 4 basic skills of language learning: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Students interact with Latinos in every segment of this project. The dance performers, spoken word artists, poets, musicians, and painters stem from over a dozen different Latin American countries. Approximately 80 Penn State Berkeley students participated in this program. Reflection papers indicate that for 100% of the participants, the project created a positive attitude change in the way they viewed Latinos and formed a better understanding of the Spanish language and culture. 50% of participants found the engagement to be life-altering. And 100% of the student surveys indicated they would be happy to participate in the program again. You can see that the survey results are kind of the same questions because that's the survey we developed for each program. Slide number 5, please. Anti-litter campaign. Another interdisciplinary service learning project at Penn State Berks is to clean up and maintain both Bear Park and its border, which is a 1-mile portion of the Schuylkill River Trail. Both sites are located in the city of Reading in basically Latino communities and are commonly frequented by the neighborhood families. To provide effects lasting well beyond a one-day cleanup, the project evolved into an anti-litter campaign which developed several sustainable activities. For example, a designated park and trail cleanup day, not once, but twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. A spring nature festival, a fall educational fun day fair at the Olivet Boys and Girls Club, which is located adjacent to the park and trail. Students in English classes developed a schedule of neighborhood meetings to discuss and promote the campaign, with the communication arts and sciences student providing the publicity for those meetings. The environmental sciences students informed residents and participants on the proper ways to recycle. The biology students extracted water samples from the river and informed the trail walkers about the birds and fish that live along the trail. Since the residents of the area were primarily Spanish-speaking, it was essential that intermediate and advanced level Spanish students be present at all events to provide any necessary translation and interpretation. The Spanish students also translated the cleanup and festival flyers into Spanish, and they served as language ambassadors to Spanish-speaking families who assisted in the Spring Nature Festival. The project was well suited for the content taught in Spanish intermediate level because half of the readings and the classified vocabulary found in the textbook dealt with health and wellness, environmental issues, and civic responsibility. Since the textbook provided the context for the project, their progress in the language could be monitored and measured by regular classroom assessments such as tests and compositions. Those that favorably viewed their role in the project performed better than those who did not. They invested more time in learning the vocabulary, practicing the grammar, and understanding the readings that dealt with the many facets of environmental cleanup, both here and abroad. They also participated more in class by asking more questions, by answering more questions, and offering their own comments on readings, videos, and so forth. 3 weeks into the semester, after students had had the opportunity to get to know one another, the class was divided into self-selected groups of 4. These groups were then responsible for working on their own anti-litter campaign, which they would present at the Olivet Boys and Girls Club Fun Fair Day in the fall. Even though this project concerned itself mainly with the environment, students learned the reasons why people care or do not care for the environment. They learned about residents in the city of Reading and how poverty affects their concerns or non-concerns with environmental issues. Out of the 24 students surveyed in the intermediate Spanish class that participated that year, more than half the students reported that it was a very positive experience. Those that viewed it as a negative it cited reasons such as took too much time or interfered too much with other classes. But about 96% of the students felt that the project was an effective way for them to advance in the Spanish language. Slide number 6, please. Converting to virtual opportunities. With the onset of the pandemic in March of 2020, our in-person programs came to an abrupt halt. Obviously, the Migrant Education After School Tutoring Program could no longer function as it did in person. Therefore, we created a virtual bilingual storytelling program in its place. Students selected short and simple readings readily available in both English and Spanish on the internet, rehearsed them, and then recorded themselves performing a dramatized reading of the story. Other students collected the individual readings and turned them into one continuous video with an introduction to provide context to what the children would be viewing. The video was then made available on a YouTube channel accessible to anyone with an internet connection. Slide number 7, please. The Breaking Barriers, Building Bridges program was the most difficult to replicate in a remote environment. However, the students found a way. They contacted several Latino community leaders and asked them to participate in a series of informational videos that could be broadcast to campus and community alike. To date, they have created and recorded bilingual videos such as voter registration information, Dominican cooking demonstrations, Caribbean dance lessons, and a post-election reflection video, all nonpartisan. Students participating in the Antilitter campaign project now provide important translation services to the city of Reading on issues ranging anywhere from sanitation to public health. The in-person projects described herein have been employed in Spanish classes at Penn State Berks for the past 5 years and will continue to be offered for as long as student and community interest exists. Based on students' enthusiastic willingness to convert the programs to virtual platforms, it's reasonable to conclude that these programs are a successful tool in transferring the old-fashioned rote language teaching methods to contemporary real-life experiences. They provide the meaningful and relevant experiences that today's students seek in applying classroom content to real life. When students are motivated, they become more productive. Not only have our students become more proficient in using their language skills outside the classroom, but they have also become more civic and culturally sensitive. As evidenced from the students' reaction to the pandemic, the interdisciplinary approach has also taught them to think more of just themselves, molding them into responsible and global-minded citizens that will create tomorrow's positive and equitable communities. Slide number 8. Are there any questions? And slide number 9, I thank you very much for your attention today. My information is on the slide. I'd be happy for you to email me and answer any questions that I can. Thank you very much.